Two restless, relentless adventurers, seen here taking their own picture in front of a public bathroom mirror, set out on a quest to locate a fully functional World War II airplane, the legendary P-38, nicknamed the Fork-tailed Devil by German pilots and similarly called the dreaded Sky Dragon by Japan's pilots. Searching far and wide, the two ventured forth to the Palm Springs and Lyons Air Museums. However, as impressive and awe-inspiring as these collections were, the adventurers could not surrender to the satisfaction of a mere P-38 replica as seen here. Why so persevering in their quest? Well, back in 1942, a young high school graduate named Melba was eager to leave her foster care upbringing in Texas for the excitement and promise of California. To help assure herself a job and to aid the war effort, she completed Riveter's training to build airplanes while her newlywed husband, Glenn Brecht, set out for Japan with the United States Navy. Here's a montage of items from that era that would certainly inspire any young girl to not only venture into the workforce, but gain confidence to help build airplanes for the war effort. Patriotic posters. Here's a movie poster depicting Riveters as sexy war heroines, not to mention being immortalized into Rosie Riveter figurines for purchase. And, whoa! Here's the magazine cover of the famed Saturday Evening Post. Here's my mother Melba's Riveter School diploma. She says that she worked on P-38 wings in a Hollywood movie studio. Well, see how glamorous that was? She didn't really get to see the whole plane assembled together, which makes the purpose of our mission all the more so urgently important. Before us now stands our last hope, the Yanks Air Museum in Chino, California. Is there a fully assembled and functional P-38 inside here? Well, let's take a look. This may or may not be promising. A historic manual of the P-38 in the lobby. The adventurer holding it still radiates her World War II enduring optimism. Her enthusiasm was dampened a little by the Rosie Riveter tattoo I got on my leg. I told her that was better than my posterior, seeing how much I love to show off. Okay, that was the fantasy part of this adventure. We'll try to stay true to facts from here on out. This plane is impressive, but clearly too way back, like World War I era. Looks like we're getting warmer, as World War II pilots adorned their metallic mistresses with inspirational art. What fun! We read that this particular model, the Mitchell B-25, was chosen for Doolittle's Raid, a daring bomb mission by 80 pilots over Japan's mainland immediately after Pearl Harbor. The pilots knew they would run out of fuel and try to land in China, and 69 of them survived. The Raiders hold annual reunions to commemorate their morale-boosting mission to this day. And here's a bust of Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Doolittle, who led the raid. Check out the cramped quarters for our World War II aviation gunners. Here's a Japanese kamikaze glider bomber that was recovered from one of our naval ships. Bingo! Our quest is not in vain. Rosie, here's what the whole P-38 plane looked like with your riveted wings attached. We were told by a museum volunteer who was a World War II pilot himself that if Melba here were given 500,000 rivets to complete 2 P-38 wings and had any rivets left over, that something was indeed wrong. No pressure. Clearly, there was no minimum height requirement for Rosie to do this job. Since this P-38 is backed into a corner and difficult to see as a whole, this floor model is provided so we can sort of view it entirely. Also notice the artwork on this one represents a mission of photo reconnaissance. We read that the P-38 was a radical departure from the fighter aircraft design of the time, as you can see. Lockheed was approached to design a new fighter plane that could exceed its predecessors in speed, altitude, flying distance, weight load, shooting range, and quietness, with the ultimate goal of intercepting hostile aircraft. The P-38 had to meet the toughest specifications to date, and so twin engines, twin bodies, and twin tails gave the P-38 twice the power of its predecessors. The gunnery was so well positioned that no synchronization was necessary. It was extremely forgiving and could be mishandled in many ways, but the roll rate was too slow for it to excel as a dogfighter. It also served for photo reconnaissance and escort. It was the only American aircraft in production throughout World War II, from Pearl Harbor to victory over Japan. This means that it wasn't easily outdated, as the various military branches continued to order the manufacture of P-38s. It was the first fighter that could strike accurately at 1,000 yards versus the previous norm of only 250 yards, as well as the first to exceed 450 miles per hour and to climb nearly 5,000 feet per minute. The cost per plane in 1939 was a little over $10,000 apiece, and over 10,000 were manufactured and used by 9 Allied countries. In the Pacific War front, it downed over 1,800 Japanese aircraft, including Admiral Yamamoto's plane, who had crafted the attack on Pearl Harbor. Gee, what are the odds that my mom built the wings for one of those successful missions? The American Ace of Aces and his closest competitor both flew P-38s as they tallied 40 and 38 victories respectively. Majors Richard Bong and Thomas Maguire of the United States Air Force. On the more difficult European front, where Germans had many years of preparation and technical advances, Ace Robin Olds downed 5 German fighters on 2 separate missions over France and Germany, flying his P-38. The plane's design directly inspired the tail fins of the 1948 Cadillac, and was also the inspiration for the 1950 Studebakers. Okay, here's some additional interesting things we learned about the P-38. Its length was 38 feet, with a wingspan of 52 feet, a height of 13 feet, and although weighing only 1,300 pounds empty, it could carry up to 4,000 pounds of external bombs and rockets. It had a horsepower of 1,520, a range of 1,300 miles, could reach an altitude of 44,000 feet, and, well, now that we've succeeded in our quest, the next best thing to do for us would be to see the Rosie Riveter Monument. Hoorah!